Welcome, Wrestling Warriors. You're tuned into Wrestle Watch Central, your daily dose of WWE. Hit that bell, and let's get started. John Cena's final match wasn't supposed to feel like this. It wasn't meant to leave fans angry, confused, and arguing about creative philosophy instead of celebrating a once-in-a-generation career. Yet, the moment Cena tapped out to Gunther, WWE turned a historic farewell into a controversy that swallowed the entire night. This wasn't about Cena losing. Fans expected that. Legends fall on their way out. But how you fall matters. For 20 years, Cena embodied one message louder than any catchphrase: never give up. So when his last act was submission, not collapse, not defiance, but surrender, something fundamental broke. What followed only made it worse. Triple H's response, the corporate explanations, the dismissal of emotion, and the breakdown of kayfabe transformed disappointment into outrage. This wasn't a bad ending. It was a failure to understand legacy. A night that should have been sacred. December 14th, at Saturday night's main event, should have been untouchable. John Cena's final match was more than a booking decision. It was the closing chapter of a career that defined modern WWE. This wasn't just another legend saying goodbye. Cena carried the company through its most turbulent years, bridged eras, and became a cultural symbol far beyond wrestling. When fans tuned in, they weren't looking for shock value or subversion. They wanted closure. They wanted respect. Instead, what they got felt cold, clinical, and disconnected from the emotional weight of the moment. WWE treated Cena's farewell like a standard creative checkpoint rather than a once-in-a-lifetime event that demanded care, empathy, and restraint. The match was never the problem bell to bell. Cena versus Gunther was excellent. Nearly 25 minutes of physical, deliberate wrestling told a clear story of power versus perseverance. Gunther's brutal offense clashed beautifully with Cena's bursts of resilience. The crowd was alive, chanting, believing, fully invested. Multiple attitude adjustments, including one through the announce table, convinced people that maybe, just maybe, Cena had one more miracle left. This is important. The fans weren't rejecting the match. They were emotionally locked in. WWE had them exactly where they wanted them. That's what makes the finish so damaging. When everything else works, the ending matters even more. 3 words that built. A legacy. Never give up wasn't just merchandise. It was Cena's identity. For over 2 decades, that phrase was reinforced through comebacks, kickouts, and impossible victories. It resonated with kids, parents, and people fighting their own battles outside the ring. When Gunther locked in the sleeper and the referee lifted Cena's arm, the crowd didn't chant for a rope break. They chanted, "Don't give up." That wasn't nostalgia. That was conditioning. WWE taught fans to believe in Cena's refusal to quit. So when he tapped, it didn't feel tragic. It felt wrong. Passing out would have preserved the message. Tapping erased it. Losing is not the same as surrendering wrestling tradition, says legends lose their final match. But tradition is flexible, not absolute. Ric Flair lost. Shawn Michaels lost. Stone Cold lost. But none of them betrayed the core of their character in the process. Cena didn't need to win. He needed to remain Cena. A submission finish implies choice. It says the pain was too much, that the fight ended willingly. For a character built on endurance and defiance, that choice shattered the illusion. His body failing would have honored his story. His spirit giving in contradicted it. That distinction is everything. A retirement tour with no direction. This finish didn't exist in isolation. Cena's entire retirement run felt disjointed. An 8-minute Brock Lesnar squash that went nowhere. An Intercontinental title reign that ended abruptly with interference-heavy chaos. Loss after loss without narrative cohesion. None of these moments built toward a meaningful conclusion. Instead of crafting a farewell arc, WWE delivered a series of disconnected outcomes that weakened Cena's presence, rather than crystallizing his legacy. By the time his final match arrived, fans weren't emotionally prepared for closure. They were already confused. The tap-out didn't conclude a story, it exposed the absence of one. Triple H walks into the storm. The real explosion came after the bell. When Triple H appeared to honor Cena, the reaction wasn't storyline heat, it was raw anger, booing, chants accusing him directly, AEW chants echoing through the arena. This was a rejection of leadership, not a heel angle. Fans weren't asking for explanations, they were asking to be heard. Instead of absorbing that reaction, Triple H challenged it, mocked it, downplayed it. He didn't acknowledge pain, he antagonized it. In moments like these, leadership is about humility. What fans saw was defiance. When explanations kill magic. Triple H's post-show comments made everything worse. Talking about doing what's right for business and putting Gunther over wasn't insightful, it was tone-deaf. Worse, it shattered kayfabe at the exact moment fans needed space to grieve. Wrestling thrives on emotional suspension, not reminders of corporate mechanics. Everyone knows it's scripted. That's not the point. You don't pull back the curtain while the audience is still crying. WWE didn't let fans feel. They told them why they shouldn't. WWE's war on kayfabe. This wasn't an isolated incident. WWE has increasingly abandoned kayfabe through documentaries, post-show breakdowns, and behind-the-scenes commentary. WWE Unreal, creative panels, and talent openly discussing booking have normalized exposure, but emotional moments require protection. You don't explain the trick while the applause is still ringing. Triple H once paid dearly for breaking kayfabe during the curtain call. Now, he presides over an era where the illusion is optional. Cena's farewell exposed why that's dangerous. Gunther lost in the fallout. Ironically, Gunther gained the least from this victory. Retiring John Cena should have cemented him historically. Instead, he became a footnote in the outrage. The conversation wasn't about his dominance or legitimacy. It was about the finish. That's a creative failure. When a retirement match overshadows the winner, the booking hasn't elevated anyone. Gunther deserved a moment that defined him. Instead, the controversy swallowed his achievement whole. A legacy deserved better. WWE aired videos of fans explaining what Cena meant to them. They knew the emotional stakes. They acknowledged the impact, and then they ignored it. Even if Cena himself wanted that ending, creative leadership exists to protect legacy, not blindly execute requests. This wasn't about ego or wins, it was about meaning. Cena's final image should have reflected the values he spent 20 years teaching. Instead, it sparked resentment, fractured goodwill, and turned celebration into debate. Great careers deserve endings that feel inevitable, not avoidable. John Cena earned more than tradition.